realms. Avernus, Tartarus, Hades, the infernal region you call Hell.
So, Hell does exist?
It does. For some.
Arriving in the underworld, Morpheus and Matthew spot a line of damned souls and tail them to the gates of hell. There, the Lord of Dreams meets Squatterbloat, the gate's guard, and requests an audience with Lucifer, the ruler of hell. On disclosing his identity, Squatterbloat lets Morpheus and Matthew into hell and leads the duo towards Lucifer's palace. As expected, hell's terrain is treacherous and filled with large spans of barren wastelands. On their journey to the palace, the company passes through a prison housing damned souls, one of which is Nada, Morpheus' past lover who betrayed him 10 millennia ago. An imprisoned Nada begs for Morpheus' forgiveness, as his pardon is the only way she can escape hell. Despite her betrayal being over 10,000 years ago, the vengeful Morpheus ignores her pleas for forgiveness and continues his journey to the palace. After a lengthy walk, Morpheus and Matthew finally arrive at Lucifer's chamber. Wasting no time, the Lord of Dreams details his mission in the underworld, explaining he's searching for his helm, which is in the hands of a demon. Lucifer generously offers to get his helm, but requires the name of the demon who stole it. As the Fates didn't give him a name, Morpheus reveals he's unaware of the demon's identity. Faced with this setback, the resourceful being swiftly thinks of a way to find the mystery demon. Using his sand, Morpheus summons the demon to the palace, and along with him, the missing helm. Lucifer identifies the mystery demon as 𝐒𝐚𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬, a Duke of Hell, and allows Morpheus to speak with him. The Lord of Dreams demands 𝐒𝐒𝐚𝐬𝐬𝐬 return his helm, but the demon refuses, as he didn't steal it, but obtained the tool via fair trade. Realizing the Duke is unwilling to give up the helm peacefully, Morpheus challenges him to a fight. A brave 𝐒𝐒𝐚𝐬𝐬𝐬 accepts the challenge as both parties place a bet on the duel and reach the following agreement. If Morpheus wins, 𝐒𝐒𝐚𝐬𝐬𝐬 promises to hand him the helm. However, if the demon wins, Morpheus agrees to serve as his slave in hell for all eternity. With the conditions of the duel well established, both parties pick their representatives for the match. Morpheus decides to represent himself, while 𝐒𝐒𝐚𝐬𝐬𝐬 chooses Lucifer as his champion. With that, the Lord of Dreams faces the ruler of the underworld as both warriors prepare for the duel. Before the battle begins, Morpheus orders Matthew to return to the dreaming and get word to Lucian in case he loses the match. However, the loyal Raven refuses to leave him behind in hell and swears to stick by his side through thick and thin. Moments later, the challenge begins, and the game's rules are explained. Unlike regular feuds, the powerful beings are not to fight using their own power, but that of an entity of their choosing. As the challenged, Lucifer goes first and begins the match as a direwolf. Seeing this, Morpheus chooses to become a hunter and fiercely wounds Lucifer. Angry, the Hell Ruler quickly counters and uses a serpent in the next round to take down Morpheus' hunter. This process continues for several rounds, as both beings go back and forth with each other, inflicting damage on their opponent and getting injured in return. Morpheus goes on the defensive in the subsequent round and chooses a universe as his next entity. In response, Lucifer switches to the offensive and uses a world-destroying beast known as the Anti-Life to destroy Morpheus' universe. This attack proves effective, as Morpheus falls to the floor and writhes in pain. Seeing this, Matthew flies to the Lord of Dreams and urges him not to give up. The Raven's pep talk gives Morpheus an idea for a counter, as he chooses Hope as his next entity. Lucifer is impressed by his choice and accepts Hope to be the greatest entity in the universe. Thanks to Morpheus' quick thinking, he wins the match and ultimately has his helm returned to him. With the helm back in his possession, Morpheus uses the tool to find the ruby, as he and Matthew head to New York to get it. They find the jewel in an abandoned warehouse, but quickly discovers it's been altered by John. The ruby knocks him backward when he tries to use it, causing him and Matthew to pass out. Meanwhile, John makes his way through the streets of New York and falls on a crosswalk as a speeding car approaches. The vehicle stops right in time, as the driver Rosemary helps John get back on his feet. The kind woman apologizes for her mistake and offers John a ride, which he enthusiastically accepts. In the car, Rosemary and John get talking and bond over their strained relationships with their mothers. As John becomes more comfortable, he begins sharing even deeper truths about himself. He tells Rosemary about the stolen ruby and also adds he was caught and convicted of murder. Naturally, this revelation makes her uncomfortable as she quickly grows weary of John. Scared, Rosemary tries to reach her phone and dial 911, but soon gives up as she's distracted by the oncoming traffic. Considering her options, Rosemary decides to ask for help without arousing John's suspicion. To do this, she stops by a gas station and goes inside the store to alert the owner. However, things don't go as smoothly as she hoped as John enters the store with her. Inside, Rosemary quietly goes to the counter and alerts the shop attendant while John picks a drink. Right as the salesperson dials 911, John appears and pulls a frightened Rosemary toward the door. However, before John can escape, the attendant whips out a gun and threatens him to stay put until the cops arrive. Armed with the amulet of protection, John fearlessly approaches the attendant and gets him to pull the trigger. In usual fashion, the shot backfires as the amulet causes the attendant to explode, with a splash of blood projecting on the windows. After exiting the store, John orders Rosemary to drive him to the warehouse where he kept the ruby. On their arrival, the escaped convict enters the building and finds the ruby on the floor, with Morpheus lying at a distance. John grabs the magic jewel and returns outside to find Rosemary waiting for him. Despite abducting her, the kind-hearted woman still offers to give him a ride. John is moved by her compassion and decides to give her a gift. Having regained the ruby, John hands her his amulet of protection. Curious, Rosemary questions why he no longer needs the amulet. In response, John explains the ruby is far more powerful as it has the power to make dreams come true. After saying his goodbyes, John exits the scene and heads into the open world to use the ruby as he pleases.